Welcome to Internally Guided Life, a podcast to help you unlock a life of balance, fulfillment, and joy. I'm Kayla Sweet, and together we are going to have fun and create change from the inside out. I'm so glad you're here. Hello, my friends. Welcome back. We are here at Internally Guided Life, where we love to have deep conversations. And today we're going to be in for a very juicy one that I've been looking forward to for weeks now. So it's always fun when I get to bring people on to the show that have a story about burnout or that work in the space of self-care, burnout recovery, healing, because all of our stories and all of our approaches have this similarity. Like there's a kindredness about it, but there's also very stark differences because we have different training, different backgrounds, different approaches. And I just know that every time I get to bring someone on that works in this space, you all, as the listeners, are getting to benefit from these different perspectives and different tools that are going to enrich your life. So I am super excited to dig into today's topic. We're really going to be talking about strategic self-care. And we're going to just have a very real conversation that is aimed at those high achievers, those people who, like myself, maybe are really driven, really dedicated, really motivated, but sometimes you find yourself out of alignment or off track or exhausted, and you need to find a way back. And today's guest is going to help us to have this conversation about really redefining what success is and how we can create a life that is aligned, that is creating space for rest and joy and clarity, but also for productivity, if that matters to us. And we want to have success in those ways where we are being productive and feeling good about it. And we can be strategic in our approach, which is very powerful way to own our intentionality in our life, right? So our guest today is Nicole Richards. She is a former CPA turned performance and lifestyle coach, and she supports high achieving people to reclaim their energy, break the cycle of burnout, and really learn to use rest intentionally, proactively, strategically, not like you have finally get to rest because you've earned it. So she has a really powerful personal story that we're going to talk about. And then we're going to dig into her approach and her strategies and the work she's doing in the world. So I cannot wait to have this conversation. Welcome, Nicole.
Thank you, Kayla, for having me today. It is such an honor. I am so excited to get started.
So I gave
By
the
the way, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but even when you said rest is a reward, I'm like, no, it's not. It's a necessity, right? Like it's something that we need and it's so important, right? Like we can't go to the gym 24 hours. We can't stay up for 24 hours. So why are we not resting in our day-to-day lives, right? So that is so key. Like every time I hear, I'm like,
Yeah. Well, because how many people use it that way, right? Where it's like, well, I can't do that because I haven't achieved X, Y, or Z off
Mhm.
my list.
Yes.
Like, yeah,
Mhm.
100%. Okay. This is gonna be so much fun, but I'm getting ahead of myself. I would love to give you space to share a little about like what you're about in the world, a little bit about your work and your personal journey that brought you here before we dig into all the
Yeah.
fun stuff.
So yes, like you said, I am Nicole. I am a CPA turned business coach, right? I'm a performance and lifestyle coach, but I also am a travel business owner. So all the things with entrepreneurship, right? I started my career in public accounting, working for corporate America, as an auditor. I went from mid-size to one of the big fours, Ernst& Young. And then, like I loved it for the audit, right? Like I loved being in the weeds at the time, but I didn't like the hours. I didn't like being in the conference rooms during, like right now, this is busy season, right? Tax season, we have 10 days left. And just you're cranking out hours on hours. I used to work Saturdays and Sundays during this time, right? And there were some offices that there were no windows, right? So you're not getting any light. It's sun up, sun down. I'm in this conference room, right? I never even got to experience the sun. And I started feeling that burnout, right? I realized I wanted more. I wanted more time with my son. I wanted more time with my family and my friends. So, and I wanted more experiences, right? Like I was able to travel for clients, but I wasn't able to explore the city because it was just all about work. And I knew I wanted a bigger impact. So throughout like these last almost 15 years of like corporate America, I realized I was starting to feel it in my body. I started seeing that I needed more than just the titles, right? Like I kept going up in the ranks and doing the things that I needed to do, changing industries. And then I made that decision that I wanted a life where I didn't need a vacation from.
That's,
That was the key for me.
yeah, that's so powerful too, because I think about the way we use vacations, right? It's like,
Mhm.
it's the thing that you do when you feel like you can't go on anymore and you get just enough energy to then go back, and then you have to plan the next vacation to maintain your
And
moment.
then you need a vacation from the vacation. It's just like, it's exhausting.
Yeah.
If you think about it, it's really, really exhausting. Like, we have to live our lives intentionally, right? Like, tomorrow's not promised. And you just have to really, just really look at it as what can I do? How can I make the best out of my day? How can I change the things that are not aligned with me? If I've been so miserable, why do I continue on this path, right? I'm ready to get off this hamster wheel. That was essentially like my breaking point, right? Like I just could not just worry about, oh, I had the 401ks, I had the house, I had the car. What else did you need, right? I had the vacations and it still wasn't enough. So it was really taking that step back and saying, why did I feel so exhausted? Why did I feel so unfulfilled, right? And why am I watching life just going through the motions, right? You're walking to work. Good morning. It's a great day to be alive. You're like,
Yeah.
it was like ick. It was an ick feeling. So, but now people see me and they're like, you're lit up. You enjoy everything. And I'm like, thank you. Right. Like that is the biggest compliment to me. So now I want to turn around and do and help others have that same feeling.
Yeah, yeah, that energy is contagious when your life doesn't exhaust you. Like when your life
Mhm.
actually lights you up and fuels you, like, people can feel that. They want some of that because so many people sadly don't always have access to that. There's a lot of people on the hamster wheel and not even knowing there's another way to live. You mentioned like in your introduction that you got to that place where you didn't want to have to go on a vacation from your life, like create a life you don't need a vacation from. But like, what did that season feel like for you? Like how did you know that the alignment just wasn't there? Like where did you realize the disconnect?
Yeah, so for me, it was I didn't enjoy waking up in the morning. Like I'll just dread it. The alarm will go off and I'm like, all right, here goes another day. The eyes will start rolling. I'm dreading just not wanting to put the clothes on, put the makeup on, all these things. And I kept laying down, right? I'm just taking these naps, but I'm still tired, right? Like I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. And then I started feeling in my body. When I started feeling in my body, that's when I was just like, okay, is this my age? Am I, I know like I'm getting closer to 40 in like no, not even 2 months, next month. So it's just
Happy almost
like,
birthday.
thank you. It was just like, what is going on with me, right? My hips are tighter because, again, you're sitting at your desk all day, or now I'm laying because the depression is coming out. My anxiety is higher, right? I'm more anxious even just driving my car. I'm worried someone's going to crash into it, and I don't have time for this, or I can't afford, like my mind would literally just go to the most extreme places, and it was exhausting. Like
Mm,
when that exhaustion really hits, it's really serious. And then the snapping, right? I'm short-tempered, right? I'm losing my mind with my ex, with my friends, with my family, and it was just like, this is not you, Nicole. What is going on? Like you enjoy being happy, you enjoy laughing, and like when you're happy, right? So what is going on for you? And that's when I started journaling. I
mm,
had to start talking to myself and answering myself.
oh. That's so juicy. Talking to yourself and answering yourself, like the talk about the whole theme of this podcast, like connecting with that inner guidance, like what you really knew, like your body was sending you the signals that something was wrong, but so often we ignore those things. And other thing I'm glad you brought up is like the interrelational stuff because that's something I talk about a lot, but I don't even know that I've talked about it to the extent it should be discussed on the show, which is the irritability and the damage that we do in our relationships when
Yes.
we are suffering from burnout and we're in that like overdrive state constantly. Like we just don't do justice to the people around us.
Yeah. And like, sometimes I don't even think about it in this aspect, but I used to be a military spouse, right? So there's this certain image or perceived image that was there, right? Like I had to be at all of my husband's events, right? I have to be there for him to support his career. I moved from New York to West Virginia and now I'm in North Carolina. Like that move, that like that's not easy, right? We're uplifting, uprooting our family, and I have to get my son in new schools, learn the new environment, make new friends, right? It's a lot. And so when that's happening, again, the anxiety goes higher and higher, right? Because we haven't learned how to deregulate these emotions of all the changes that are happening, right? So yeah.
Yeah, you're just in this like hyperdrive state all the time. I think you even mentioned like when you're driving, like it's just constant. It's like there's this internal wheel spinning that's just like churning up
Yes.
anxiety and cortisol and stress and yeah,
Yes.
everything
So now
feels
I have to literally say, I'm safe. It's okay. You have driven this route before. Why, there's nothing that's going to happen. You are safe. You are okay. Like having those conversations, really, really did heal me, right? Like having that normalcy, and it's normal to feel anxious, like it's okay, but you are also safe, right? Like I'm not ignoring this is what's going on with you. I recognize it, I accept it, but I'm not going to stay in it, right? I want to change, right? I will keep saying it. That's why it's in the title of my business, Change Purpose Action, because I believe when you have that awareness, you're ready for that change.
Mm, yeah. So talk to me about the awareness a little bit because I think that's the hardest part for people sometimes is like, okay, you maybe realize something's not right. You realize you're tired all the time, you're exhausted, but to actually shift from that space to the space of I'm going to connect with myself. I'm going to listen to myself. I want something different. Like that can be a hard step for people to take.
Yes.
And some people don't get there. Like they wait till retirement to let their nervous
Mhm.
systems calm down. So, how did you get there, and what are some like first steps on that journey?
The first step is that awareness, right? Understanding, like, yeah, people don't even realize that they're standing in their own way, right? They think I'm not good enough. I don't have the time. I could never do that, right? We're having all these limited beliefs, and it's like, what if? Like, let's dream. Let's close our eyes. Let's take a couple of breaths. And because, sometimes we forget to breathe. We're always exhaling, exhaling. If we stopped, right, closed our eyes, counted to four and inhaled, held it, and then exhaled, and you do that 2 to 3 more times, and it's like, oh, what is it you want? What is it you need? Do you need sleep? Do you need to delegate? Do you need to enforce boundaries? Have you been saying yes to too many things and now you're overcommitting yourself? Now you don't have time for this. Now, and then like when we really take that life audit of what is all going on, like let's just write it all out, right? What is going on in your life? You have the kids' activities, you have this deadline at work, you have your mom is sick, right? You have all these things. Write it all down. What is something that we can, right? That's the awareness. What is something that we can get rid of? Right? How are we going to hack this away? Right? Let it fade out. I call it the LIFO method. If you're an accountant, you know what LIFO means. It was last in, first out. I almost had a moment, but because I haven't has let it fade out, right? Like let some of these things off your plate. Let some of these things out of your life. Once you start looking at some of the things, you're like, you know what? Why did I say I was going to go to that fundraising event at 8 o'clock at night after I just spent the whole day doing blah, 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 right? So when you have that conversation with yourself and say, I really don't want to do all this stuff on my list, right? We're fading it out of our lives. How are we transitioning, right? So now we're at a cleaner place of, okay, this is what my life is like now, right? We've faded out all the things we need. Okay, so why do we still have these things? What is the purpose, right? That's when we're getting into alignment with our decisions for what is on here, right? So, do I still need this? Like, for instance, again, the kids, they might have activities. Could this be delegated? Can I carpool with another mom or another dad, another parent, right? Or another guardian? Can the kid make their own lunches instead of you always packing the lunches? How can they help and be a part of it, right? Because they want to have responsibilities too, right? We always think they don't, but when you ask them, hey, you get to make your lunch. Let's do it together as a family, right? Now you're doing family time and you're not doing all the work, right? So again, finding out that why, that purpose, and you just took the action, right? That's the whole framework. It's literally awareness, reconcile that, and let's get after it.
Uh, I love so the way that you pulled your work as a CPA into your work as a coach is really, really cool and unique to me because I feel like you are very strategic and like I don't know, intentional in your audit process. And I
Yes.
think even the language you use, like some of that pulls from your your work as a CPA, right? And you
Yes.
kept those the CPA as part of your framework, right?
Yes.
So I guess talk a little bit more about that because I think you're right. Like there you have created a structure to allow for the awareness. So how
Mhm.
has that work that you did as a CPA like informed this structure and created a process for people to move through?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So for me, like one of the times of the burnout that was happening, everything was chaotic, right? Like there was no organization. For me, as a CPA, you have to be organized, right? You have folders on folders, so you could be in the assets, and then you're talking about the cash, and then you're talking about what the steps you specifically did, right? So we're like almost putting everything in a little compartment, right? So that's what I like about it, right? Like that's where everything feels so well done. That's when my analytical skills comes out, right? Like, because I think that's what was the focus. Everything was very scattered. Like sometimes I'll have 10 windows open and then multiple tabs of that window, right? And I'm like, well, why did I start on this? And oh, let me go back to this project. Oh, what about that sale? Oh, let me book. It was so exhausting that once I said, what did I really like about being a CPA, right? Like, let's not take it away because it provided so much value to you, right? You were able to go from someone who was on Medicaid and food stamps, not sure what she wanted to do, has a new mom, and was like, okay, I have to go back to school to take care of my child, right? So when I did that, and I happened to go to H&R Block, this is about to be a run-on sentence, but it's come with me. And it was just like, I went to do my taxes when it was the first year I think my son was born, so I got that little tax check. So I was really excited, like, oh my God, I got thousands of dollars of a refund check, right? Thank you, kid. And so, but watching the person do it, I was like, oh, I can go home and do this tax return myself, right? So, because I didn't want to pay because I wanted the whole refund. That was the logic back then. And so, by doing that, that is how I got into accounting. And so, again, I don't want to diminish anything that I've gotten out of it, right? Like I got my bachelor's degree after once I did that one moment, I went and got my bachelor's degree, then I went and got a master's, and then I got my license, or that might be flipped. But just having that moment of let's not diminish what we've done, right? At first I was like, oh, I can't, don't give me any tax returns, don't give me any of these things. And it's like, but why? Why are you trying to avoid parts of your life? Let's embrace it. Let's accept that it was a part of it and let's incorporate it into everything, right? Again, like another part of my framework, which I don't really talk about, there's two things, right? Travel and forgiveness. Like those two things are so key for all the alignments that we need, right? Like again, we can't push everything down and say we'll come back to it later because it's eventually going to come to light. It's eventually going to hit you in the crash right into you, right? Head on collision. And you don't want it to be at the worst place that it could happen because it could happen in your car. You could just all of a sudden like I can't do this anymore. You start screaming, you start crying, you like why am I crying every day? You don't want to get to that point. So if you are there, there's ways to come back, right? There's always ways, there's steps. And that's why I am so passionate about this.
Yeah, yeah. The crying in your car thing, I will say, when I burned out, like that is where I was. Like there was probably a I don't know, a 3 to 6 month period where it was like I cried all the way to work. I cried between conversations or meetings.
Yeah.
I cried on my way home, and I was so confused because it wasn't even that I disliked my work. I was just in such a state of overwhelm and exhaustion that my body was just freaking out. So
Yes.
that is very real. But you're right. Like
Totally can relate. Yes.
yeah, you can pull yourself out of that and you can create alignment. And what I was loving about what you were just saying was the way that you found a process to integrate and honor all of the things that your work as a CPA brought to you and all of the parts of you that really valued that time. Like you didn't have to divorce yourself from who you used to be
Yes.
to create this new version that is thriving and that is excited and has this energy and is in service of people. So I guess talk to me a little bit about that because not everyone can maintain their identity in that way and integrate their identities when they make a big shift in their life. So how did that like unfold for you?
That's also a great question. So like for me, going through my separation and understanding like how to heal from that and understanding that I was a people pleaser, right? And I had dealt with a lot of narcissistic, whether it was bosses or a spouse or family members, like realizing what that was doing to me, I realized I didn't know who I was anymore.
Mm,
And that was scary, right? Like I felt like I was just going through the motions of just pleasing everyone else. And it was like, Nicole, what is it you want? What is happening, right? Like you are so tired of pleasing everyone else. What is it you need? What will please you? Right. And so I think when I came back to what was it that you found joy in, right? I did find joy as an auditor. I did love the work, right? I just didn't love certain aspects of it. So let's just take the things that we loved, right, from each parts of our life and put it into one mix, right? So one of the things that someone always used to say to me is I had an attitude problem, right? Or I'm rude or, I'm blunt. And I used to try to hide that. I try to make it smaller. At work, someone's made fun of me for my life being too loud, right? So I kept shrinking myself, shrinking, shrinking, shrinking. And now I am unapologetically me. You're going to hear my laugh. I am loud. I do have an attitude, right? These are the things that make me who I am, right? I told my friends yesterday, I said, one thing about me is I'm healed, but don't mess with my friends, don't mess with my family, because then you're going to get the unhealed version of me. And I don't want her to come out. I have to tell her, no, I got it. I'm the adult, because that's my inner child we had to work on a lot of things about ourselves. We had to go back to our childhood and say, what is it that little girl wanted, right? All of a sudden I realized I like talking. Everyone told me, no, you don't like to talk. You don't, everyone was trying to tell me who I was. So
mm,
again, when I started sitting there saying, having that conversation with myself, writing, who are you, Nicole? What is it you enjoy? What is it you want to get rid of? What do you don't want to be seen as? What do you want to accept about you? Having all those conversations with yourself, you realize who you really are. And when you see that person, you're going to love her. Him or her, right? Whatever your pronoun is.
yeah.
You're going to love that person. That I will promise you, because you will accept them fully and wholly for flaws and all.
This is such a powerful process that you're describing because it sounds like you had to do like a personal reclamation and that's
Mhm.
allowed you to step into like your wholeness and bring all of those parts of you that you maybe started to divorce yourself from or the world tried to cut you off from. And when you said about like your laugh and people making comments like that's something I've experienced too. I have this really loud laugh I get from my mom. That's how I used to find her. Like when we were out in public places, I would hear her laugh and that's how I'd know like where she was. I could just follow the laughter. And then I got older and I realized I had that. And sometimes it makes
Uh-huh.
people uncomfortable if they don't want to be seen. And you're
Mm,
laughing really hard or you're, engaged in a
yeah.
story and you're talking really loud. And I used to do the same thing. Like it made me self-conscious or nervous. And like we have to own those pieces of ourselves that we've divorced ourselves from or told ourselves
Yes.
weren't good enough because they're a part of you. They're what make you you, and the world
Yes.
needs it. And the people who don't like it,
Yes.
they can
Yes.
excuse
We don't
themselves.
need, we have AIs already set up. We have everything else automated. We need the realness again, right? We're coming back into outside, right? We want connections with people. So you want to see the real person, right? You want to get to know who they are. When we all try to be the cogs in the machine, that's when it comes out of alignment, right? And that's what I realized when I started shrinking myself to fit in these rooms. And I realized, why are you trying to be in these rooms? Go in the rooms that people will celebrate and honor you and will look up to you, right? And then you are also inspired by those people in that room also. So that is what I start looking towards, right? If I see you just being, I understand what you have to do, right? I understand that some people, especially, you coming out of college, you have to have this appearance because you're trying to get your promotions and all the things. And then, but what if you didn't? What if you got to be yourself in the very beginning, right? You might go way farther. That is the conversation I have with myself, right? Now, imagine if you were just this person now when you started. You might be a partner in a CPA firm. We don't know, but I realized that wasn't my path if I was going to continue moving the way I was at that time.
It's so much less exhausting to be
Mhm.
who we actually are than to
Yes.
try to be somebody else to fit in. This is so interesting to me. I'm like having so many moments of like alignment because I was just
Mhm.
recently looking back through some poems that I had wrote when I was going through burnout. So
Mhm.
I'm like 7-ish years removed now. So it's been a
Mhm.
while, but it still feels like, I remember it viscerally.
Right.
But
Yes.
I was looking back at some of the stuff that I had written, during that time, and a big thing I was feeling was that I was like an outsider or that I didn't belong or that I had to put on a
Mhm.
mask or like a
Mhm.
facade to be accepted in the environment. And I realize now, like, it probably wasn't the environment necessarily that was making me feel that way. It was little things that I had grabbed from all these places along the way that had told me I needed to be a certain way and I needed to be perceived a certain way. And I was trying so hard to hold up that persona so that I could feel like I belonged here with these people that I thought, maybe I didn't. Like I didn't always feel like I should be in that space. Like my background looked very different than theirs. I grew up in poverty. Like I was working with people that didn't ever have to wonder where they were going to sleep or if the power was going to be on. So like there was some real things I had to reclaim, but I think that was part of why I burned out. It was because I was trying to be somebody other than who I was, and I thought I had to do that to fit in. And it wasn't true because once I started to let down those shields like one at a time,
Yes.
like I actually feel like I have a community now. I feel like people actually see me. Like I didn't get rejected and cast out like I thought I would.
Right. And like as you said that, I started thinking about just how small again that I really was, right? Just that flow of what are we doing, right? We're just going through the motions of being this person and it's just really not in alignment. Like, yeah, that alignment when you lose it, like and you get it back, you fight very hard to keep your alignment in place. So yeah, for anyone experiencing that, yeah, please like reach out to us because we don't want you to get to where we got, right?
Yeah, you don't have to. Like, it's great that we've been able to turn it around, but like, you don't
Yes,
have to go to that place. If
yes,
you're noticing you're on your way, like, you have the power right now.
yes, yes, yes. Get the help now before it gets too extreme, but if it does get extreme, just know that you can come out of it. Like that, I think that is also very important to tell people because I think for me, I couldn't see it at first, right? Like I didn't think it was possible. And like hitting everything at once, I knew I wanted to be healed. That's why I went and got my coaching certification, right? So my certification is I'm a certified positivity practitioner. Because I love certifications as a
Yes.
certified public accountant, right?
Uh-huh.
So
Me too. I'm
I'm
like,
a
give me all the
certified
certifications.
I'm a certified master coach, right? And I'm a certified trauma informed coach, right? So understanding how our thoughts, because that's what it was, like your thoughts can lead you down a road that's very slippery, right? It could have the same circumstance, right? We have the same facts. Today is sunny. But is it? Because that's my thought about it. You might say it's cloudy, right? And when we both have the same circumstance of the weather and we have this two different thoughts, our feelings might be different. So when it's sunny for me, I have joy, right? And when I have that feeling of joy, there's so much activity I want to do. I want to be outside. I want to be walking. I want to do all the things. The result is I'm happy, right? Because of the thought of it's sunny. But for me, if you told me it was cloudy, my feelings is, oh, the day is over. There's doom, all the despair. I'm not doing anything. I'm gonna watch TV. I'm gonna binge on food and lay out on my couch. And as a result, I become depressed because, oh my God, I can't believe I'm blaming the weather,
Right.
right? And so, like having that thought process and realizing how powerful our thoughts are, right? And how we have control over that. We can't control the humans, right? We can't control what other people say or do. I control how I feel about the thoughts that are in my head and what I'm going to do after it. So that was probably the best thing about my certifications was getting through that process because now I can write all of that. That was our requirement was to write to ourselves every day. What
Mhm.
feelings coming up for you? What thoughts are you having? What actions what resulted out of that? And even with my business, like starting it, I had all that fear that what if this doesn't work? And I'm like, well, what if it
Yeah.
does? Once I started looking at it that way instead of all of this limiting beliefs, it was like, oh, dream big, let's go.
Mhm.
Like you can't be small, right? I think Michael Jordan knows Kobe Bryant probably, who's always had that Mamba mentality, right? You can't tell him he's gonna lose, right? He's gonna fight, he's gonna figure it out. And I have that mentality. Like there's no way I ever lose. I'm either winning or I'm learning,
Mm.
right? So that is very like I just need everyone to understand that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and the thought work is so powerful because you're right. Like the we tell ourselves stories about the things going on in our life, and if those stories are negative and disempowering, then we're living a totally different life. Then the circumstances could be the same, but we tell ourselves a different story, and we feel excited and we're ready to go. And you have to
Yes.
get into, as you say, I love your language around this, like conversation with yourself.
Mhm.
I want to dig into that a little bit more because I think that's really powerful. So, how did you get into conversation with yourself, and how do you recommend people start to do that work of like listening and
Mhm.
feeling like they're in a dialogue and they're investing in that relationship with themselves?
Yeah, so the first thing was realizing when I was having all these negative thoughts, asking myself, where did I get that question? Where did I get that thought from? Right? I can't do this. I'm not going to win. Who told you that? What story is coming up for you the first time you heard no, right? Think about a baby when they get up, they are walking around, right? They're taught to be relentless. I mean, they're not even taught, sorry, they're born relentless and then they're taught to relent, right? Like they are told, no, you can't do this. No, you can't do that. Oh, you're not capable of doing something else. Oh, you're going to get yourself hurt. So you are literally building up this anxiety from the womb in a sense, right? And once you start saying, if I've been listening to everybody else, what happens if I was to listen to myself? What if I had that conversation instead of asking all my friends for their opinions or a therapist or a coach? What about if I just ask myself, what is the answer that might come up? Let's have a board meeting. Because people are like, oh, I talk to myself, I'm crazy. No, you're not. Yourself needs to hear you talk positivity into it, right? I can do this. I am capable of doing this. I will do this. I'm going to do this, right? Not any of those can'ts. Yes, it's going to come up again, but then it's like, okay, board meeting time. Why do we have this thought? What is pulling up for you, right? Is it something someone said to you one time about like being a teacher for me, right? That teachers don't make enough money. Well, I guess I'm not going to be a teacher because money is the most important thing.
Right.
Now look at me. All I want to do is teach people not to have burnout, right?
Ah,
Now I'm like, oh, let's go back to the things that everyone told you you couldn't do. Let's ask ourselves, why did they say that? Is that about them or was it about you?
mm.
So that's why you need to have the conversation with yourself.
Yeah, this is it's such a powerful approach. I think, like you said, to just like get it out, do an inventory, do an evaluation, do an audit,
Mhm.
in
Yes.
your
Yes.
language
All
of
the
like,
words.
yeah, what's going on in your world and what's going on in your mind? Like, what are those thoughts and yeah, when did they get implanted there? Because I think we often think our thoughts are facts. Like we just assume that this dialogue that's running incessantly in our brains is truth, and
Mhm.
a lot of times it's not.
Right.
We have to like figure out a way to come in contact with the deeper, wiser part of us that can assess like, yeah, where did that come from? Is that
Right.
actually serving me in any kind of way? Like,
Right.
and then we
Yes.
can choose a different path.
And it comes with repetition, right? Because we can just say it one day and you end up falling back into the trap, right? The habit and everything. And then when you sit there and think about, like, I always try to bring it down elementary style, right? The teacher in me is always in me. And so I'm like, I didn't learn my ABCs overnight. I had to do that every day and practice, practice, practice. So everything we're talking about, it's not going to be, oh, I met with her and that's it. No, you have to do the work. You have to take the
Mhm.
action and you have to do it continuously. Small habits continuously. And you'll get there.
Yes, yes, repetition is key. It doesn't, and like I think what you said, like I met with her, like you can't expect the magic to happen because you decide to meet with a coach or a therapist or
Mhm.
whoever your support, like however that looks. Though the magic happens outside of those sessions. You might get ideas or insight or support or resources, but like the magic happens when you actually get in contact with yourself on purpose on a
Yes.
regular basis.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. All of that. Yes.
Yes. Okay, so let's let's talk a little bit about success.
Okay.
This word that I feel like weighs so many people
Mhm.
down, like just this heavy weight they're dragging. how has your definition evolved? Like, what does this mean to you at this point in your life and maybe where it was before?
Yeah, that's I'm like, wow, like thinking back about things, for me, back in the day, it was writing a to-do list and being able to check it off. That check just gave me joy or crossing out something, right? Now, and then my to-do list got a little too long. It started looking like a CVS receipt, right? Like I was like, what is going on? Now I'm beating myself up. So now success for me is what did I plan on doing today? Did it give me joy? What
Mm,
was my challenge? Like again, all these conversations, did it give me joy? What was a win, right? What was one win? If I had one win for the day and I had one joy, I'm winning. That is my success. I don't overwork myself. I don't stress myself out that way. For people who are like in the professional setting, the corporate setting, is again having that conversation. What does that look like for you? Not worrying about your evaluation because you know who you are. You know what your work shows. You know your deliverables. Don't worry about that. Worry about what makes success look like for you today. So that might mean again that one win. And the win could be you talk to a friend. That could be a win and a joy. Someone you haven't spoken to in years, right? You got to reconnect with them. It could be you went outside for a walk. You got up every 30 minutes to stretch your legs, right? Like keep it simple. Don't overwork yourself.
yeah.
That's what leads to burnout, right? Do not make the expectations so high that you're in this doom. Like you feel like you're never going to win. That's just, it's not fair to you. If you wouldn't want that for your friend, why would you want that for yourself?
Yeah. Yeah, I love that you like kind of frame success in light of like those moments of joy. And this was something that we really connected on when we talked before because that's something that I had to learn, on my way out of burnout too, is like sometimes there's just too many things in your day that
Mhm,
drain you and not enough that light you up. And you have to
mhm.
pay attention to see that. And so it's like once you notice the things that did make you feel that joy, did make you feel that excitement, that curiosity, that like that fire, that passion, like, okay, that's a sign. Like follow those signs. Like,
Yes. Like, yes, follow that path. Don't follow the
yeah.
path of darkness. When you see the rainbow over there, walk that way, right? Like, let's just go.
Yes.
It might be a little curvy and all the things, but that darkness looks like a straight path might not be your path, right? Our destination is not, that's not the goal. It's a journey, right? Everything is a process. It's not, oh, I get here. Because, like when I got my bachelor's degree, okay, it's like, and then now what? When I got my
Uh-huh.
CPA, and now what, right? It's literally exhausting. When
Yeah.
I hear some of my friends even talk like that, I'm like, aren't you just tired?
Yeah.
Like I'm like, all the things you just say you have to do, that exhausted me, and I just had to hear it. And that's when I talk to my friends. I'm not talking about my clients, right? Like my clients, I understand. Like my friends, I'm just like, now you know what I'm going to say. When was the
Uh-huh.
last time we scheduled rest? When was the last time we scheduled time for me? Right? Like that's the first thing I'm going to say. I'm like, when you start giving me all those things, it's just like, yeah, no. How are we going to fix this in your life? Because I can't watch you self-destruct in a
Right.
sense.
Well, I think
Hmm.
our society like so conditions us to believe that success is something over there that we're going to get
Hmm.
to once we've achieved X, Y, or
Hmm.
Z. And then you achieve the first thing and oh, okay, like this, I don't feel like I've had success yet. Then what's the next thing? Okay, I don't feel like and you just end up chasing your whole life, never feeling like you've arrived. So your definition of success where it's like it's in the daily moments of like nourishment, of joy, like that is success. It
Yes.
it takes some of the pressure off. It gets you off the hamster wheel,
Yes, yes, yes. Because like the work is still going to be there. It's not
Yeah.
going anywhere, right? You're going to succeed in your job, right? Like you're going to be fine. Like once you start realizing that, I think, and I understand where some people come from, right? Like if you think about when I got into my profession, it was 2008, housing market was crashing, people were losing their jobs. So I understand that anxiety, but that's just happening to you, right? Like it's not the end of the world. Like it might be a time for a pivot. It's a time for that again, that reconnection with yourself and understanding, okay, this might have happened to me, but everything else is going to be okay, right? Like let's work through what the next steps are, right? We don't have to sit in it. We'll experience it, but what if you don't lose your job? What if you, again, like we give you the negatives and we show you how it is what it is over here, but it could be this over here and it could be way different, right? So it's just be kind to yourself. I don't know how else to explain it. I hope that message comes out with my message today on this interview. Like, I hope that you understand. That's all I want for people, right?
Yeah. Well, and I think people sometimes it's like we have this belief that if we're too kind to ourselves, we're going to lose our motivation or our drive, or we're not going to get anything done. And that's not what we're talking about here. We're not talking about not going for the things you want or not having productivity or not making strides in your life, in your work, in your business. Like you can do all of that, but you can do it in a different way. And I think this is where like your approach just really resonated with me because you talk about rest and recovery and nourishment and travel and all of these things as strategies, strategic
Yes.
approaches to our lives, not luxuries. So let's dig into that piece a little bit. How do you use self-care and rest strategically to get towards maybe the things that you're wanting in your life?
So it's literally starting small, right? If you want to say you don't have time for something, you have time for 5 minutes. If you have time to scroll through your social media, unless you don't have social media, you have 5 minutes to give yourself, right? So what does that look like? It could be meditation, putting that phone down, sitting in silence, taking a couple of breaths, really deep, intentional breathing, right? And understanding what your body's saying, right? Oh, I have this little back pain. Do I need to do something about that? Do I need a foam roll? Maybe I need to stretch my muscles, right? How do I move my body, right? That's another way of self-care, right? You have to care for your body. We only get one, right? And there's a lot of, health issues that people face, right? So what is it we do? Is it that we're cooking a meal with a loved one? Is it going out to a nice restaurant, right? You can go by yourself, you can go with others, right? And just having that conversation again with yourself. You can do a spa day. You can do bubble baths at home if that's not affordable, right? Like there's different things we can do. Yeah, walks and then travel. I mean, travel is my luxury style, but travel doesn't have to mean getting on a plane. Like I always say that, right? You can go, for me, I can go to the museum and walk around, like the art museum and it's quiet, it's peaceful, you're in touch with yourself, right? That's a trip. I got to enjoy something. It's a field trip. Remember the times when we were kids and we went on field trips,
Yeah.
right? So it doesn't have to be something big. Like bring back your childhood. Go do something artwork, right? Like you can go draw. It could be anything that you used to do as a child that really gave you joy. I don't run. I was never a runner. Maybe run around a base like for softball and kickball, but I don't like running. So I'll go for a walk. I can walk a New York at heart. I can go for a walk all day long, right? Whether it's nature, a city, a sidewalk, a street. If my feet touch it, we're gonna have a good time, right? Again, that could be it start off for me with 5 minutes. Now I can do a 30-minute. One time I did an hour walk in my neighborhood, right? That is joy. That is self-care. Anything that is literally what you enjoy that takes care of your mind, your body, spirituality, all those things, going to church, any of that, all of that is self-care, right? I think some people overcomplicate it and it's like bring it down to the smallest level possible.
Yeah. Yeah. And when we're thinking about this, like strategically, right? I think bringing back to that first thought we had when I was doing your introduction, talking about like we often have this belief that rest is, something we have to earn or it's a reward for
Mhm.
ourselves because we've accomplished enough things, and that is something that we have to, overcome that belief so that you can prioritize those 5 minutes, so that you can give yourself permission to take that like mini vacation, maybe exploring somewhere in your own town, or maybe it
Right.
is going somewhere else. I love the way you incorporate travel and like
Mhm.
getting yourself into a different environment into your work, because
Mhm.
I think that is really powerful for like a mindset
Yes.
shift or
Mhm.
reset. Yeah, speak to
Yeah.
that a little bit because I love
So
that part of your approach.
yeah, so like even with that part, I wanted to say also like the time block, right? Because even when we're talking about this, because people still gonna, I can still hear people say, I don't have time. When you do that audit of your life, right, we look at where your time is going, right? Understanding where can you put 5 minutes? What can you remove from here, right? And scheduling. Like I literally open up my calendar for a month and I'm like, okay, this is my intentional rest day, right? Whether it's in the week or in the month, right? Some days it could be for I just make sure I have at least one a month, right? I know that I'm staying busy right now, but in general, like put that on your calendar. Make it an appointment the way you make a doctor's appointment. Make an appointment for your self-care. That is very key. So then with travel, you're seeing new places, right? You're seeing yourself in a different way. You're stepping outside of your routine. You're doing things differently. That's why I enjoy doing it, right? Like it's an escape. We're expanding our minds. We're realizing that all of our worries, like there's so much of the world that's going on. I especially notice it when I'm on a cruise, right? And I always go balcony. Just gonna say that I did inside one time. We'll never do that again. So balcony, and then you're just seeing the ocean, right? You're literally like, this is the universe that I'm a part of. I am literally one blip in this massive world, right? How am I impacting this day? Am I making this world better by being here? Yes, I am. How can I show up and give my thanks? That is why I say travel it's like your birthright, right? It's reclaiming that joy, the success, everything. It's all needed and necessary.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so powerful because I think of like the mindset that we're in when we're traveling or when we're just outside of our regular environment, whether you work at home or you work, in a corporate setting or whatever work looks like for you. Like we get so wrapped up in the habits and the routines and the thought processes that come with
Mhm.
that environment. And so then
Yes,
like stepping out of that on purpose, even whether it's like across the world or down the road, you
yes.
see things differently. You can see
Mhm.
yourself differently. Like you said, your perspective expands and helps you to like see what actually matters and have the big picture for a second.
Yes, yes. And like I've been I went to Turks and Caicos a couple of years ago, and it was with me and two of my other girlfriends, and one of them, she had her work laptop. She was working, and I'm just like, that's not what vacation is for, right? Like it's defeating the purpose, right? Like you're making me stressed out by looking at you, right? But she had her deadline, she had her deliverable, so she made it work for her, right? So when she was on having to do what she needed to do, then when it was time for her to go on the beach, she got to go on the beach. So it's not the same for everyone, and I understand that, right? I just know what works for me, right? This is what aligns with my body, and is when I shut down in travel, that means I'm exploring and I'm enjoying the world, I'm enjoying the culture, I'm enjoying the people, right? Like light up talking to people. Like I love doing interviews. I love learning about other people's experiences and what they've gone through, and just being tapped into it and just asking questions to learn more about them and how they've gotten to this point. It's such a beautiful thing. And you can't do that when you're working from home every day of the week and you don't step outside. That's why I say travel is very important for your mind.
Yeah. Yeah, get yourself out of the daily, the routines because there's
Mhm.
so many, yeah, just beliefs, I think, and habits and we just get into like autopilot. I think that's
Yes.
what it is. It's like it breaks the autopilot routine when you
Yes.
go somewhere that you're not all the time.
hmm And like for me, my parents, they both worked two jobs growing up. So most times I didn't see them, right? So I was a latchkey kid. And just understanding that we didn't take vacations unless it was a death in the family, right? Or maybe a wedding. So I went to Barbados at like 8 or 9 years old with my best friend and her family. And being able to wake up every morning and walk down to the beach, like that's still ingrained in me, right? That
Mm.
was, I didn't even know what rest was, but my body still knows what it is, right? Like it's still, if I see a beach, my feet are touching that sand. I am
Yes.
running over there. I'm taking like, even if it's for 5 minutes, right? Or 2 minutes, I don't care. Like we could be driving past it. Is that a beach? Let's go, right? Just
Mhm.
because I feel so in touch with the universe, right? Whatever your higher power is, like that is when I feel like I'm called home. That's when I'm having that conversation. Because again, when we're talking to ourselves, we're learning about ourselves, right? For me, I'm talking to myself or I'm talking to God. So that's where I say it's very important to have that conversation.
Right. It gets us in connection with that deeper soulfulness, that
Mhm.
layer of life that sometimes we just get lost in the lists and the tasks and the chaos of the things that honestly, we act like so much is an emergency that just really isn't. But when you can like get away
Yeah.
from that, and I love doing like the full-blown vacation where you're somewhere else for, a week. But even when that's not accessible, I think like I live close to Lake Michigan. So during the summer months, I go to Lake Michigan and I go to the beach day trips whenever I can. And like that's always so nourishing for my soul. Or my husband and I went and we just traveled a few hours south to go to this museum exhibit a
Oh,
few months ago. And it was just, we just spent the day there. We didn't even stay the night anywhere, but we were in a different place, experiencing something
mhm.
we'd never experienced before. And we were so much more connected to each other, to the
Yes,
moment. Like we got that, oh yeah, like life. Like there's so much, like it turns on
yes.
like your adventure brain. You're
Yes, you become a
curious.
little kid again, right? Like
Yeah.
your inner child is in peace. And when that person is in peace, like the world is endless and there's so many possibilities that can happen for you. You start wanting to do more. You were like, how can I do this again? What can I do to get to this point? Like for me, I want to build a house in Turks and Caicos. So the first thing was, how am I going to go after this? Because I can't just work this one job with one paycheck, right? I needed multiple sources of income. So I started looking at it that way, and I'm like, okay, now we have a goal in mind, and we're going to enjoy the journey, and let's do it. Like, listen, in 10 years, we reconnect. It's gonna be live from Turks and Caicos.
Yes.
I'm putting that in the universe.
I am here for it.
Awesome.
We have a couple of minutes left though, and so I just want to open it to you. What do you want to make sure that people are taking away from this? We've talked about so much. We've talked about, strategic self-care, taking a break. We've talked about mindset shifts, your thoughts, reconnecting with yourself. Like we've gone all of these amazing places, but what do you really want to say to the person who's listening, who's maybe struggling or feeling disconnected or feeling out of alignment? I just want to open it up.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, we talked about a lot, and I always do talk about having that conversation with yourself, but also understand you don't have to do this alone, right? There are resources out there. You can reach out and get a therapist, you can get a coach, or you can just find a community of people like you, right? It might be other people who are struggling. It might be other people who want that change, right? Like how can we get out of this? And then once you start seeing that and you follow that purpose and alignment, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm not by myself. I have this whole group of people that will support me, right? I don't need a struggle. And I think that was probably the biggest blessings for me last year. With my coaching program, it was 9 of us, and we are still a sisterhood. We text each other almost every day. We have a weekly call just to check in and see how everyone's doing. If someone needs to dump on us, we hope we have space. We open the space and make it feel safe for you. And now that I'm in a new mastermind with a new coach, I have that same community, right? So when I'm having a master class or anything like that, they will come and they will support. They get on and they are encouraging, right? So that also is a form of success, right? Knowing that who you are when you are showing up as yourself and realizing that you have other people there for you, it's like, okay, I can do this. I can accomplish this, right? And that is probably the biggest thing I want. Just invest in yourself first, surround yourself with other people, and go after those goals you want, that vision you want. It's okay if it fails, right? Not everything is meant to be perfect. Progress over perfection.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I love that you brought that community component in as we get close to wrapping up because I think you're right. It's so key to know that like there are things you can do solo and there is a certain amount of like introspection that's required for this journey, but that doesn't mean you're on the journey alone. And finding your people, your tribe, your community, the people who are going to lift you up, hold you up, challenge you in a healthy way, but also like be there for you when you have the setback and encourage you and support you. Like those people are out there. And if you don't have that now, like you can find it and you're going to need it. Like we need each other.
Yes, yes, we do. You can't do this by yourself. I think that isolation from the pandemic and everything really showed how quickly you can get into burnout, right? Like it wasn't the work. I had probably the least amount of hours I've ever had in my career, and I had more freedom, but the burnout was still existing, right? And I was like, this doesn't make sense. It wasn't about the hours. It wasn't about the task. So what is it, right? That conversation and realizing, oh, I've been having too many thoughts with myself, right? And not saying anything. I was just having the thoughts, but I wasn't having the conversation. That was the difference. That's the difference from then and that person, that Nicole versus the Nicole now. Now that Nicole, this Nicole, she has the conversation and she's like, "Hey, this is what I'm thinking. This is what I want to do. This is what's giving me joy." And everyone's like, "Yeah, let's do that." Right? How can I help you? How can I support you? Right? And you're like, "Oh, why have I been trying to do everything myself?" Right?
Yes. Yeah, the community is like it's so nourishing. Our souls like need that. We were meant to hold each other through this process and lift each other up and not like scratch and claw and try to get where we're going all by ourselves. Like it's not
Yes.
doesn't even matter if you go that way because then you're lonely when you get there, you know?
Yes. I want to thrive. I don't want to survive. So, yes, that is very important, having that community.
Mm, such a powerful place to leave this conversation. I feel like we just went through like a time warp or something. Like how has it been an
Listen,
hour?
burnout is real. When we're talking about burnout, you're having the flashbacks, and it's like that PTSD is real. Like you're like, oh, I remember those days, right?
Yes.
But
Yeah.
it's such a beautiful place to be now. And again, it's not perfect, but I literally will go through the steps. If I feel myself not in alignment, all right, Nicole, what are the steps you usually tell your clients? What are the steps you tell your friends? Let's work through it. And I'll always come out. And when I'm smiling, I know I'm good, right? When I'm not, it's like, oh, okay, we're not smiling today. Do we want to talk about this? All right, let's go into. Oh, we're having a meeting under the covers. Oh, we're turning on the TV and including that. Okay, there's a presentation on the TV, right? Oh, we're having a meeting with the games on our phone or our social media, right? Like, okay, so yeah, it's okay. It is, that's the key. Everything is going to be okay. And that's all I hope for everyone. So I hope that resonated with anyone today. I really do. I really do.
Yeah, I love your like curiosity and humor too. I mean, these things we're talking about, they are hard and there
Mhm.
is hope no matter what. Like you can get out of it. And I think once you've been through it and you see the other side and you see how much light and excitement and joy is really available to you, you know, you just are moved by a different sort of energy.
Yes, the energy is really real.
Mhm.
And didn't realize what it was before until someone like came up to me and told me, "You're vibrating high." And I was like, "What does that mean?" I'm so insulted. And I was like, "Oh, now I'm like, how can I get to the highest vibrations possible now?" Right? So I was like literally tapping into myself. And yeah, it's a great time. And I notice when people come to me and I could just be sitting like I could be sitting at a bar by myself. Something about you just made me want to talk to you. I get that a lot. Come on in, like, and that's what I always want my clients to feel like I'm a safe space. There is no judgment. I have no business judging you. I want to help you free yourself.
Mm,
How can I do that for you?
yes. Okay, so I want to make sure that people can connect with you. If you are feeling inspired, you're feeling like Nicole has something you want to connect with her, you want to follow her, where can they find you, Nicole? Where can they see the work you're doing and be connected with you?
Awesome. So they can find me on LinkedIn as Nicole Richards CPA. And I also have a website, www.cpa-coaching.com, where there is a 1 minute burnout assessment. So go ahead and hop on it, give it a try, see where you are. And then let's book a discovery call. Let's see how I can help, right? It's a 15-minute free call and we can just go from there. And I hope that I can help you.
Amazing. We'll put those links in the show notes so that they are easy to find. And I highly encourage you to stay connected with Nicole. Nicole, this has been just such a fun journey. I'm like
Yes, it
so
was.
lit up. So I knew it was going to be a co good conversation going in, but I can just like I feel so nourished and so excited and so grateful for this time. So thank
Yay.
you for
I'm
coming
so
on.
thankful. I'm thankful that I was able to connect with you. I'm so glad that I found you and that I just asked and that you took this time. And I love your platform because, yes, I wish I had found you when I was going through it, right? But my path led me somewhere else and we eventually connected, right? But just understanding, again, you're not alone. There's a community of us burnout
Yeah.
recoverers. Well, there's people still in the trenches of the burnout, right? Or that you might be in the beginning, but just know you're not by yourself. That is the key. And I'm so thankful for you.
Yeah, I definitely feel like we came across each other for a reason and we were meant to have this conversation today and share this out. And I hope that it provides some hope, some inspiration, and a lot of great ideas for whoever's listening. So thank you. It's been a
Thank you.
joy.
Yes.
And For those of you listening, I hope you grab something from this that you can put to practice in your life. I know it was a lot. You don't have to start big, start small. Find one thing you can do. Maybe it's going and doing that burnout assessment. Maybe it's
Yes.
getting in a dialogue with yourself. Find
And tell
something.
us in the comments what you decide, right? Because I would love to know, right? That's what helps us as the coaches that we are, right? Knowing that what we're saying is resonating, because we don't want just to talk, right? We want to help people. That is what we're here for. So, yes, we would love any comments that you have. I really appreciate it.
Yes, let's keep this conversation going. We won't let it end at the episode. We'll follow it
Yes.
all the way to social media, to the podcast comments, and have a beautiful day. Take care of yourselves. Do something fun.
Yes. Bye, everybody.
All right. Goodbye, my friends.
Thank you for listening. If this episode spoke to you, please take a moment to follow, rate, and share it with someone who might need it. If you're looking for more tools to help you thrive in your life, or if you're curious about working with me, please visit my website at internallyguidedleadership.com. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok at Internally Guided Coach. Be gentle with yourself out there, and I'll talk to you next time.